Kalt Eldfjall, a tiny isolated country within the North Pole, ruled by a dictator, third largest army in the world, the second highest income through exports and the capabilities of mass destruction. It remained one of the most tightly controlled, strict, and prosperous nations in the world for almost 300 years. Today, we'll be taking a deep dive into the daily lives of the state that instills terror in the rest of the world. To even get to the country, we have to make it through a thick smoke and a harsh climate. To do that, we'll have to enter through this monstrosity.
Actually, these are the same vehicles that Zurich scholars used to first explore Salvador.
In 1521, at the height of the Bresk Empire, Zurich Skallerson headed an expedition to the North Pole to uncover the strange glow lying within the North Pole. As we get closer to Occult Eldfjall, heavy wind and snow attack the Arctic snow cruiser.
The closer you get to our country, the harsher the environment becomes, which is why the Brescians built these machines to be able to survive the cold and wind.
Compasses don't work when in the North Pole, so people rely on the beacons to triangulate their positions away from Kalt Eldfjall. South is signified by yellow and is situated to be aligned to the prime meridian. There are a total of 5 beacons. South corresponds to yellow, east to blue, southeast to green, north to red, and west to magenta. Because the North Pole is the north of the entire world, the beacons only provide a way to actually read any map of the place, otherwise it would be impossible to navigate. We arrive at Vast Gate, one of the 3 main entrances to the inside of Kalt Eldfjall. Upon arrival, the weather had completely changed from a harsh hellscape to a pleasant winter wonderland with a surprisingly warm climate.
You can find some GOLEMs, or golems, machines developed by Delconager in 1801. These golems are specifically version 21.1.
We stop close to the wall and switch vehicles to one much more suited to the orderly roads of Kalt Eldfjall. The first stop on our list is New Skylerson. Originally the first settlement close to the volcano, is now where the wealthy and powerful reside.
If you look in the distance, you'll see Salvador, the towering volcano, providing heat with its vents, hotspots, and springs.
Though Kalt Eldfjall is a dictatorship state, here in New Skylerson, there exists a building where the residents of New Skylerson may plead to the leaders about their qualms.
This is where we will be staying for our first night, one of the only 3 hotels in the country made only for tourists.
This hotel was requested to be built by our current supreme leader. He wished that the other nations would get to witness the sheer might and prosperity of this country firsthand. It is my pride to welcome you all with hospitality.
Due to the Earth's 23.5-degree axial tilt, during the Northern Pole's summer, the North Pole is tilted towards the Sun. So as the Earth rotates, the Sun never dips below the horizon, resulting in 24 hours of sunlight for about 6 months. This is known locally as the Zurich season. In contrast, during the North Pole's winter, the North Pole tilts away from the Sun, causing the Sun to stay completely below the horizon. This leads to continuous darkness for about 6 months, known as a nocturne season. Kalt Eldfjall only allows tourists in during Zurich and heavily guards the borders in Nocturne. This is only the 3rd year they have allowed tourists so far. In the morning, we head out to the capital city of Huvuborg to listen to a speech from the great dictator himself, Hans Erisia. Before that, however, we have to pay respects to the statue of Mikhail Misha, the leader of the Red Army and the first supreme leader of Kalt Eldfjall. On the bottom, it mentions the strict rules of paying respects to the statue. The tour guide reads it aloud.
During Zurich, civilians must bow to the statue for 6 seconds. and the militia must salute for 3.
In Nocturleg, the roles are reversed. The Brescians converted Kalt Eldfjall into a mining operation/prison. It housed defectors, traitors, protesters, former generals, spies, prisoners of war, slaves, and plenty of other people who had a strong dislike from the Empire. In hindsight, this was a bad idea, and during the decline of the Empire in 1767, Mikhail Misha, a prisoner of war who watched his wife Sasha die to the hands of the Brescians, had led a siege during Heimskut, the darkest period of Nocturlig. On January 17, 1769, Kalt Eldfjall had gained their independence and Mikhail Misha was appointed as the first supreme leader of the new republic. The citizens calmly clap their hands as the leader steps onto the podium.
Tonight, on the eve of our sacred Independence Day, I stand before you not just as your supreme leader, but as the voice of our ancestors, the echo of those who paved the way for our existence. It is in these final hours before our greatest celebration that we pause to remember where we came from and to ready ourselves for the challenges yet to come. For 252 years, we have walked the path of sovereignty, carved from the blood and sweat of those who divided an empire. Our forefathers fought for this land, for this freedom, against those who would see us as their servants. They endured bitter winters, famines, and the relentless aggression of the Brest Empire, but they never surrendered, and neither shall we. Tomorrow we celebrate our triumph, but tonight is for reflection. The flame of Solvitor burns high above us, a symbol of our indomitable spirit, our strength. It is a flame that reminds the world that Kalt Eldfjall is not a place to be conquered or tamed. No empire, no foreign power, no force on this earth can extinguish it. Just as it has raged for millennia, so too shall we. Our flame is eternal. Yet, even as we stand on the precipice of celebration, I must speak of the dangers that linger in the shadows. There are those who envy our success, those who despise our way of life. The eyes of the world that are upon us, and not all who look upon Call of do so with admiration. They covet our wealth, our strength, and our unity. They wish to see us divided, weakened, and brought to heel. But this will never happen, not as long as we remain united under our banner of loyalty and strength. Let it be known to our enemies, Call Eldfjall is unbreakable. Tomorrow marks the 253rd anniversary of our liberation from the Brest Empire, a moment that changed our destiny forever. But we do not merely survive the pages of history, we shape them. We are the writers of our own future, and in that future, I see prosperity, I see power, I see call Eldfjall that towers over the world, casting its shadow forward. But to achieve this, we must remain vigilant. We must stay the course of order, strength, and loyalty. This is not time to rest on our laurels or bask in our past victories. Our work is not yet done. The world grows more treacherous by the day. We must prepare, we must build, and we must stand firm. I know some of you fear what lies ahead, but I know that the winds of change bring uncertainty, but the fear is the weapon of the weak. We are not weak, we are Kaltans. We're forged in fire, and we will endure anything the world throws at us. In the coming year, we will continue to expand our influence, grow our military might, and strengthen our borders. Our engineers, scientists, and warriors will ensure that no external threat can breach our defenses. And above all, we will ensure that our people, every one of you, has a place in the future. We are building together. Tomorrow we celebrate, but tonight let's make a vow. A vow that will stand united as we face the dawn of a new era for Kal Elshor. Raise your head high, for we are the people of the eternal flame. We have survived the ice and fire of this land, and together we will thrive for centuries to come. So on this eve of independence, I ask you, stand with me. Stand with your brothers and sisters, stand with our ancestors, and stand for the future of our great nation. Together there is nothing we can not achieve. Long live Kalt Eldfjall, long live our unity, and long live the flame.
At first, I was scared of how our new supreme leader would lead, especially because he himself did not come from the supreme bloodline but was handpicked for his excellence and loyalty. But it has been one of our most prosperous times in all our history.
Article 1, Section 1 states the Supreme Leader holds their position for life, and succession is determined solely by the Supreme Leader's chosen heir, whether by blood or by fitted choice. On our way to our next destination, we can pass by some government controlled farms.
The Supreme Leader has given us many privileges to be able to farm so close to Sabuleti. It's very difficult to have a yield of good harvest in the outskirts of Latandote. But here, right next to the radiant heat, we are able to yield much more than we'd ever hoped.
Workers bring out ores and bring them all the way over to Little Fug to be processed and out through Mine Gate. After some deliberation with the tour guide, we were finally able to speak to someone heading the mining operation.
All is good, very prosperous. No human rights violations here.
Deep in the mines lies a fiery hellscape. The reward for working in these environments is the rich amount of ores and unique minerals to Solblätter, like Firenite, Skalgium, Iskalite, Erisor, Glimmerveld, Levitanium, Volcarillium, Viltrumite, and Solthier, very valuable materials in high demand. We head back out to Little Fugue to stay in our second hotel. Sleep for 8 hours watching the government-approved television. People rise and shine at 12 a.m. In Solblätter, people follow a GMT time even though the day is much longer. Today is January 17, 2021, and it is Kalt Eldfjall's 253rd year of independence. People pledge to the flag. All external travel is completely halted during this day.
Our eternal leader, Mikhail Misho, has given us everything: the strength to rise from the ashes of the past, the vision to see a brighter future. Today, we celebrate the freedom he fought for, the unity he's built, and the peace we enjoy under his unshakable rule. There's no greater honor than serving Kalt Adfal and following his wisdom.
We pass by stands that sell food. Most food in their culture is preserved and made to last long. There are plenty of displays of military might. Soldiers and airships fill the air. Article 3, Section 2 states that in Kalt Eldfjall, once someone reaches the legal age of 20, they are required to either serve at least 2 years in the militia or 3 years in labor. In 1845, the first atom bomb, dubbed Little Bird, was dropped on Seltor, formerly an island northeast of the Duchy of Erisia. It was the biggest display of power in the world, completely decimating the island and making it uninhabitable for 12 years. Today, we are allowed to free roam throughout Little Few with strict rules but have to meet back 1 hour before January 18. Our tour guide heavily watches us the most to make sure we don't do anything rash. Unbeknownst to them, however, someone else is also here to record with a hidden camera.
The city life is all too good to be true. In the mines and in Natandote, the conditions are horrible.
The social structure in Kalt Eldfjall goes as follows. The regime party, consisting of the former supreme leaders, the current acting Supreme Leader, then followed by the Supreme Bloodline. Under that is the Militia Party consisting of generals, soldiers, and cadets. The Workers' Party, also known as the Labor Party, with the farmers, researchers, engineers, construction workers, artisans, craftsmen, fishermen, and in this tier, the miners are seen as the lowest class job but is where most citizens end up. This tier is mainly blue-collar jobs. Finally are the civilians with three main tiers. Coarse debt, people with a long family history of loyalty to the regime. Wavering debt consists of people who have a history of immigration and have since assimilated and no loyalty but not disloyalty to the regime. Lastly, hostile debt, those with a family history of defecting, convicted criminals, hostility, disloyalty, etc. Those who were descendants of the Brest Empire and had not been executed were also fitted into this tier. Anyone below coarse debt are usually not allowed to stay within the walls, and the regime is the strictest towards the hostile debt. These people have to stay on the outskirts of Natindoter. Many rule breakers, convicts, protesters, and or hostiles are either also sent to Natindoter or forced into labor in Solbretor, with Solbretor acting as a makeshift prison.
My family lives in Daughter. I came here to redeem my family and to give them a good life.
Life in rural Natindoter is a constant struggle. Much of the population lives in poverty with limited access to food, electricity, and other basic necessities. Many people still suffer greatly under the regime despite what they'd like you to believe on the inside. To end our trip, we go through Zurgate and out through Natindoter. Unfortunately, the snow cruiser had to go under maintenance halfway through, because of something that was definitely not because of us. During maintenance, one of our journalists was able to sneak past security and record the scenes of Natindoter.
Okay, guys, this is scary. If I get caught, you might not ever hear from me again. Oh god, I'm the only child. My bloodline's gonna end with me.
Just as we've heard, Natindoter is a stark contrast to the bustling cities within the walls of Kalt Eldfjall. Life here is raw. Harsh winds sweep throughout here. Many of the citizens live in makeshift homes relying on limited resources. Many people make their living here as craftsmen, smiths, and fishermen.
My younger brother and sister, they're barely getting by. We work hard every day just to survive, but nothing changes. The regime talks about the glory of independence, but what about our lives? They don't see the suffering out here in Natindotir. My siblings, they deserve better, but all they know is hunger and cold. Independence Day means nothing when your family is struggling to live. Just because our family has sinned in the past does not mean we are guilty of that same sin.
While the regime portrays a nation of prosperity, Natindoter tells a different story, one of struggle and hardship, where the promises of glory and progress remain distant echoes. Our undercover journalist makes it back on board without getting caught. Our snow cruiser finishes maintenance and we make it out and wave goodbye to the state of Kalt Eldfjall.